presents School is Now in Session.
Welcome to Homeschooled Podcast.
Homeschooled.
The Homeschooled Podcast. Why? Because he was homeschooled.
It's time to document the journey. Welcome back to Homeschooled Podcast. I'm Agostino Zoida. I'm the host of Homeschooled Podcast, and we have a very special guest here today. It's Alisa. Is it Glutz?
It's Alisa, like Melissa, no M.
Okay, sorry.
That's the name of my
I was worried I was going to get the last name wrong. Is it
Gluts like Klutz? It's my married name.
I was almost going to say I didn't know if I was going to say Gluts or Gluts.
Yeah,
It's
both
Glutz.
ways.
Alisa Glutz, correct?
Alyssa,
Sorry, you
like
just told me and I
Melissa.
forgot already. If
It's
this was
okay, it's very common. My mom doesn't know how to spell. So
if
it's
this
fine.
was the date, you would have been you would have been like, I'm out already. I'm
I would have been like, we're done.
I'm not even paying for the drink.
I'll pay for his drink. Get me out of here.
Well, thanks so much for spending some time with
Give
us.
me a water. Two water.
I'm sorry I was running a little bit late today, but I will have you just do my sponsors with me today, if that's cool. So, guys, this episode, thanks for tuning in. This episode is brought to you by Masterclass. I would
Sounds
love.
good.
Are we on a delay? Hold on. I think we're on a delay.
Slight delay.
Oh, yeah, there is a little
It's
bit
okay
of a delay.
though. Math class, I heard.
Okay, cool. So, it's probably better to not do a Q&A type thing then in that case, because it's weird. So we will anyway, we'll just get through it. Yes, this episode is brought to you today by Masterclass. Masterclass, I am proud to welcome them back as our sponsors. They were our sponsors for many, many years. And if you listened to the last episode with my buddy Lee Sayat, we were talking about, a couple of things that we would like to do if we weren't stand-up comics. We were both saying we would really like to cook because we love cooking, and he was saying he wanted to take a class but didn't really have it. But listen, guys, you can take a class for just about anything online these days, and that's why I've always loved having Masterclass as my sponsor. They do offer several cooking classes, but not just cooking. I mean, if you can think of it, they have a class for it. It's all on there, so click the link in the description. They have tons of deals. It's really like a no-brainer. You can buy an individual class, but to me, it's a no-brainer just to go ahead and buy access to their entire website for 1 year, which is basically like buying 2 classes. So if there's more than one class that you wanted to take, there's a comedy class, acting, writing. There's many, many things on there. And I think that that's an excellent thing. I've taken a couple on there, including the cooking. My wife and I made a date night out of it and did like the cocktail class. That was a lot of fun. And
Great idea.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's just great, you guys. And another great thing is, like, let's say you're into comedy and maybe your roommate or your friend is into acting and they want to take a class. You guys can just split the cost for the year and you need to share a login. That's what I would do. So click the link in the description and sign up today. Also, just a quick reminder, my comedy album is out now on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, everywhere worldwide. It's called The Bad Guy. Please do me a favor and download it and leave me a 5-star review, which helps me climb the charts. If you can't find it online for some reason, because I got a very difficult name to spell, you can go to my website, homesschooledpod.com. That's homesschooledpod.com. Click on merch, and the links to download my album are in there. All right, thank you for waiting for me on that. How are you?
Yeah. I'm good.
All right, good. I'm glad that you can come in today because I think that you have an important job. And I think a lot of people need to hear about it. And I think it's important because so often things can pile up on top of you and you feel like you'll never even get out of it.
Totally.
And so you just won't
Go
even
into
try.
A cave.
Yeah.
Just kind of like go into denial where you don't even look at the ATM receipt because you think it's just like a slot machine. You're like, double whammy, like you're hoping, for the ATM, and then it comes out, and as long as you don't even look at the receipt,
right.
You got through another day. Sometimes it is really like, I just need to get through today with the funds I have in my bank account, and we'll see what happens tomorrow.
You ever go to an
I
ATM?
understand.
You ever go to an ATM machine and you see the receipt that someone else left, and you always look at it, right? I always
You're
look
like,
at it. I've never come across one that had less money than I do. I've never seen
this
one.
Poor bastard. Yeah. This poor guy. Poor guy. No, for sure. It's definitely something that, like, obviously, even the way we met, there's nowhere I can go that it's not something I could bring up to the person next to me and help them. I'm not kidding, and I won't go into this story, but I was in jail helping a couple little Mexican girls that were in there with me because long story, I got a speeding ticket. Anyway, but I sat and I got to help them with their credit. And then, I happened to be on a date with you, or not even a date. I went to go see my buddy, Jimmy Schubert, and you were opening for him.
Right.
And we got into like a 2-second conversation. Next thing you know, you're like, I'm married and I just so you know, but I'm going to contact you. And I think I can use that as a resource. And it wasn't like, oh, you're sure you're going to contact her to get your credit. Like, you're like, yeah, no, I can tell she can help me. So I'm a useful person. It's nice to feel useful. I would say I get the benefit of everything, but I really get to like come right at you from a point of view that is a lot of fluff is gone. And I just kind of come right at you. Like, this is what you need to do. Step 1, step 2. Step 3.
Well, as probably a lot of stand-up comics, we end up finding ourselves in financial problems or, and not to mention that when you're young, you start getting, your first credit cards, and then you blow it. By the way, there's talks of bringing the age to vote down to 16, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I don't even think it should be 18, because when you're 18, you got your first credit cards and you made horrible decisions. I don't think an 18-year-old should be in charge of the fate of our country, let alone a 16-year-old. When you're 18, you start getting credit cards and you blow it. You're giving it a shot and you blow it. And then me personally, I got married once and then divorced, and then credit was all messed up during that transition, and then I finally was
Isn't it funny though? I don't mean to cut you off.
No, it's all right.
Isn't it funny? I get it all the time where people go, "Hey, I got to talk about my credit. I went through a divorce."
Isn't that funny?
Or I went through something where it's not the actual event that hurt your credit. People are like, "How bad does divorce hurt your credit?" I'm like, "No, not the actual event.
No, yeah,
doesn't hurt. It's the accounts you guys had in common.
Yes.
The chaos of life.
Right.
You're trying to go, in order for the divorce to be final, we kind of got to settle these debts out, and I don't have the money, and you don't have the money. And like, just obviously, if you got to the point of divorce, you're probably not debt free. You know what I mean? You probably added on to the issues you guys have as a couple.
Yeah.
So I would say that piece of it. But the event of it, bankruptcy, obviously, going through anything. People have been saying a lot lately. Hey, my income's not that good, but, COVID.
Yeah.
So everybody's been saying like COVID, like that's the new.
My credit's not
good, but I went through COVID, and I'm like, oh, did you get it? And they're like, no. I'm like, I got it. Like I literally had it. And, my bills stayed. But I get it. But I get the what they're referencing, like the furlough, the stress of it, whatever. But for some people, they've done better this year than they ever have. You know what I mean? And for a few people. But I would definitely say working with stand-up comics, I was in my 20s when I was a producer on Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher.
Okay.
And I worked with as a talent scout for HBO in my early 20s. And I would watch all these stand-ups, and I didn't have credit for crap because I went to ASU and they handed them off, handed off like water bottles, like, you want a water bottle, you want a credit? And I just grabbed them and didn't know. My mom just said, just pay your bills on time. That was all the law. That was all the rules I got for credit. Pay your bills on time.
Right.
If you can't pay them, one day you will. And you just got to hide. That was the rules I got.
Yeah.
So it was just like, but early 20s, I'll never forget, if you know a couple comics named, they're going to hate me, but Corey Holcomb, D. Ray Davis, okay? These guys were early 20s. They both came out from Chicago. They both joined this management company I was working with at that time. They both were getting huge development deals with like ABC, Comedy Central at the time. And they were both walking into the office every day with new diamond-eyed tiger necklace, platinum gold. I'm like, dude, like, where'd you get that? He's like, 50,000. You know what I mean? It would be like, how much? What? And athletes too. Like you're all of a sudden in your hand at a ton of money, like a development deal. Right. That you're like, oh, what do I do with that? What do we do with that? You're freaking out, kind of like, what should I pay first? Let's go pay off all the bad stuff on my credit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you start kind of going at it that way. But yeah, I kind of went all over the place there. But I definitely
I got you.
There's personalities definitely that you are suddenly thrown into a world sometimes where you have a lot of money and you're not ready for it, you know? So consider yourself lucky if you don't have a lot of money right now, because you're not broke, you're even.
Yeah.
You don't have Visa. That's a Steve Marmel joke, by the way. He makes that joke and I love it. But that's the truth. He says, I look at homeless people all the time, like, you're not broke, you're even. You don't owe anybody. I owe Visa. Okay? Like,
That's true.
So be happy if you can't even get a credit card the last few years, because guess what? You don't have credit card debt.
Well,
so
I started stand-up comedy when I was 20 years old. And, you know, when you're young, all you want is success, rich, and famous, and you want it right away. And it's and so now I've been doing stand-up for 12 years, and I learned that anybody I know who's had something right away, they don't have it anymore.
No.
And
it was a flash, you know.
And you know, whether it be like the fame or, you know, some things were handed to people because they were super talented and they give them huge contracts, and it's like, oh, you only had 5 funny minutes, but you were, you know what I mean? You look like a star in those 5 minutes, but then you book him on the road and he's like, oh, he didn't have 30 minutes. And then, or, you know, you go through guys, you just give them too much. If you gave me a development deal, even $50,000, you know what I'm saying? When I was 24, mind you, I'm already 4 years into comedy, so I think I know what I'm doing. That 50,000 would have been, I would have been in debt 50,000 more.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Because we don't even realize really how much we owe on credit cards when they're all spaced out amongst like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
We look at these numbers on the balances that are like, you know, 4123. At 1345, 545, 375, and somebody says to us, "What's your credit score's not good? What's your credit card debt looking like?" And I don't owe that much. I don't owe that much. That's a common thing. Right. And I'm like, yeah, but what do you owe?
I think I said that to you.
Card, you know, and then people will lump it all together. Well, my utilization is under 30, and I'm like, no. I didn't say overall. I'm saying each individual card was a choice for you this month. Did you borrow all of what you had available on that card? Or did you, and the way they know that is the one day of the month that they report your balance. Yeah. That's going to affect your credit the next month. And so anyways, we broke right into that whole piece because credit cards, we didn't know how to use them. I remember thinking at 20, if I had 2,000 available at Dillard's, that means I had a $2,000 budget to go buy clothes and then slowly pay them off. As long as I made a minimum payment every month, I would build my credit score. Okay. Yeah. And every month it was like, no, there's nothing available. I'm just paying this debt off. Not realizing that's the only way I'm demonstrating whether I'm a low risk or high risk. That's the only way, is credit cards are a choice every month. So that's what your credit score is going to be mostly impacted. If you get nothing else out of this, if that's the game that you start focusing on, going, I'm going to go look at my credit report and see what's the actual balance they said I owed, because I pay it off in full every month. But when you go to look, you'll be like, wait, I don't owe a 900 out of 1,000 target. But they last reported on the 21st and I pay it off on the 25th every month. So the credit bureaus never know that the balance is actually zero. It looks like you borrowed 900 out of 1,000 available. High risk. So your score stays low. But in your mindset, you're going, but I was late on student loans 5 years ago. That's why my score's late. And it's like, no. That's 5 years ago. It matters what's in the last 24 months on that credit report. Wow. And that's why I color it, because I'm blacking out like 90% of the report. That's just a distraction. And we get to like 2 pages where I'm like, oh, that's what I got to do. I write them usually on a 1 page like this for clients. If I look at a 180-page credit report, I break it down into, you got like 4 credit cards. This is the balance. This is the limit. This is the day they report your balance. This is the couple collections you got to call and get paid and deleted. This is a charge off you need to call and settle. And this is a student loan or installment loan you need to pay on time every month. Done. You focus on that, your score is going to be, you're on your way to 800. I mean, it's just following a formula.
Right. Just like everything, right?
Yeah. Everything's a recipe. You know, I don't think people understand. They think credit score, oh, that sounds so complicated. But why are we able to figure out the Instagram algorithm, the TikTok algorithm, but we can't figure out the credit score algorithm? Yeah. Like, that's one that's going to cost you more in your lifetime than anything.
Well, I haven't figured out Instagram either, so.
Yeah, the algorithm. The recipe for a perfect credit score, really, it's just having 2 open credit cards with a $20 balance reporting, just enough to show your plan, the game, $20, doesn't matter what the limit is, and 1 installment loan paid on time. Car loan, student loan, just paid on time. Don't try to pay it off early. You didn't say you were going to do that. Just pay it on time. Every month, it'll be like maintaining your score if you pay an installment on time. But the credit cards are going to be the thing that move your score up and move it down based on the amount they report each month. That's where you're going to see movement, credit cards.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I contacted you yes, we met that night, and then I was finally in a position. I was one of those people, like, I don't know that much, which, like, I really didn't. And
nobody does. I'm a weirdo. Single as can be. That's why.
What do you mean?
Because I obsess. I mean, there's not a lot of people that are this knowledgeable of credit. I say that in the way as also putting myself down. I'm as single as can be. I'm the most obsessed person with credit, but I don't have any other life. So just so you know that, just want to make sure that's real clear that I'm obsessive, and that's why it's good to follow me and listen to me because.
Well, there's most people probably like me. They just have the Credit Karma app on their phone that they look at once a month, and they get depressed. And then you just look at it and you go, I don't think I'm ever gonna fix it, and it just seems like impossible.
You really hit your self-esteem, that number.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really important.
You hit your self-esteem and think you're way better than everybody else if you have an 800 every day. Because I see it. I see people go, oh, I don't need you. I have an 800. You're like, today you do. We'll see about next month. It can change all the time,
Yeah. It's just. I finally became in a position where I go, I'm just going to pay these off. But I just thought to myself, instead of just paying them off, I wanted to just get some advice and make sure, is that the best strategy, the best formula? As you were saying, there's a formula for it, just like there's a formula for everything. As a stand-up comic and you're writing a joke, there's a formula for it. And
totally. I loved that about stand-up.
Yeah.
Before algorithms, I loved the science of stand-up, of breaking down. I can remember having a call with Sarah Silverman, 20 years ago, sitting on the Smokehouse Barbecue up in Burbank, and sitting on the patio out there, and her talking about, was this word, funnier for a female, area, or was this word funnier? And it was just really like a whole discussion about vagina.
And every couple of years, there's actually every year there's a few comics that come along that are new at it, and they think that we're going to rewrite the formula, we're going to be different. It's like it just doesn't work. And I'm sure it's the same thing with trying to fix your credit or anything else in life. It's like if you go against the formula, it's just not going to work. There's a reason why, even if you watch a sitcom, they had that laugh track. It's a formula that works, and if you watch shows that don't have it, it's just they don't work. And they think it's like old school and cheesy, but it's like there's a reason the laugh track was there. It's not because they weren't funny. It's because laughter is contagious, and it's someone that the audience needs to relate to know when to laugh and just when the punchlines were, and it's just so important. So there's a formula for everything. I'm sorry I keep relating everything to comedy, but
no, but you know what, that's so crazy about you and I is, though, I mean, my whole obsession my whole life into my 20s was stand-up comedy. I mean, I was 20, like I said, when I was a producer on Politically Incorrect. So everybody, Robin Williams, everybody was coming through that show all the time. And I was this young 20, just all about really knowing comedy in and out, knowing who was represented by who. Everybody kind of knew I knew how to get a hold of somebody who wanted to promote something. But I can tell you, they're all so tied. People go like, how'd you get into mortgages after stand-up? And I'm like, it's the funniest thing I could find in Arizona. I mean, really, it's probably the truth. But at the same time, there, in a weird way, there's some connection there that, comedy, laughter is there. And people get passionate about being comedians, because they want to, make somebody feel lighter in their road, right? Feel a moment of just being able to laugh at life, right? Well, I mean, and so it's healing in a way. And what I do in mortgages, I've found the one thing in mortgages that if I could raise their credit score, that's going to have them save money on what they're paying for the biggest thing that most people pay for in life.
Of course.
Most healing thing I can find in the mortgage finance world. And that's, and so I think that no matter what you do in life, whatever occupation, whatever, there's going to be this underlying through line that is really what you're good at. I've even had Levity Entertainment Group. That's Judy Marmel, and one of the biggest management companies in LA, that they represent Jeff Dunham and Sebastian Maniscalco and a lot of big people. But Judy's always talked to me about, they started out as Power Entertainment 20 years ago when I was her assistant, but I still talk to her today, 20 years later, and she'll say, the minute you're ready to come back to California and manage comics, there's nothing different than what you do now. You're managing clients now on their whole transaction of buying a house. You'll just manage comedians' careers. And I'm like, you're right. It really isn't different. I'm either selling a comedian or I'm selling, it's the same through line for your skill set. Believe it or not. And I'm funniest mortgage lender you'll ever find. I got my own niche here.
You know what's funny? I'm on the path of taking all of your advice, and what's funny is that one I showed you. I owed somebody like 400 and something, and I was just gonna call them and pay it. And you told me like, no, offer them 250. And then I called them up and they were like, well, it's 4 something, but we'll do 3 something today. I would have paid that if I didn't talk to you. But I'm like, she said 250, so I could probably get them down to 250. And I told them 250, and they were like, yeah. And I gotta tell you,
we'll do it.
And I really want to tell everybody listening that, because I know how many people get phone calls from collectors, and and I gotta tell you, they're so used to you not answering. And you're so used to avoiding them that when the two of you were actually on the phone, it was the most pleasant conversation that I had. They were just excited that they had somebody who... You
have no idea.
Yeah, they're ready to make a deal.
My sister runs the biggest collection company in the country.
Yeah.
So we have great dinners. We have great talks. I'm like, so what are you guys talking about in your board meeting today? I'm trying to get the inside of this big collection thing. And over the years, it used to be that they would not delete a collection. They would update it on your credit report as paid, but that I would watch people's credit score drop as soon as they updated the bad account. I'm like, you got to get it deleted. Like it was never there, or it's going to potentially drop your score for paying something, bad. Mm-hmm. So anyways, that now 2 years later, almost all the big collection companies, LVMV, Midland, Calvary, Portfolio, they all delete. They all agree to delete. So knowing that going in, it doesn't matter if you settle for $1 or you get them, or you pay the entire amount, it's going to be removed from your credit. So it doesn't matter what amount you settle for. Get it done. You know, if they're willing to delete it. But what's funny is just collection companies, just over the years, just watching how much they're changing and how much my sister was saying, like at the beginning of quarantine, they noticed that they weren't making as much money on collections because they really halted their actions. They quit calling out to people, because it was kind of a rough time, right? Yeah. So they stopped the calls outward, and all of a sudden, she said, around April, the calls the incoming calls of people calling to call and get a collection paid and deleted. Yeah. She said it went through the roof in April.
You want to know why?
April, she said I think it's because of Alyssa on TikTok. But anyways, I'm just getting it out there, though. If you think about it, okay, I'm not a brag here, but we got 300,000 followers on TikTok, right? But then I've got all my other mortgage credit, other people, friends on TikTok, and they're speaking the same thing. When you're talking millions, billion of people that are on that app, word does travel fast. Because like I said, everybody was calling to delete. And she said, I was getting calls from people wanting to refinance and get payoffs for judgments that were owed. People just cleaning up house.
April 1st is when the extra 600 a week started from unemployment, from federal unemployment. Yeah.
I think the stimulus check popping out too.
But that's really great to hear.
Said, you know what, I'm still employed. I'm going to take that check and I'm going to get these debts deleted.
Yeah, instead of just going like, I'm going to buy this shit that you don't need, or I'm going to go just hang on to it because you never know. I think it's fantastic that people are doing what I'm thinking is just get that removed off of your debt.
Yeah.
And
credit card debt. Really getting to the point of going, why are we? Is there anything? If your store card you have is a $500 limit, why the heck are you spending $386 at Kohl's? I'm just telling you, you're using almost all that Kohl's is offering you. So whatever that limit, the credit card, the store card, whatever the limit is, drop the last digit. That's your true limit. Okay, that's your true limit. That if you spend more than that, and that's the amount they report each month, you're going to start seeing your credit score go from 800, 7. You're going from great to good to average. Okay, because that it doesn't matter how much you have available to you. They're looking at each individual relationship that's revolving. So if you have a Kohl's and a Victoria's Secret card, and you have a $300 limit, because most of them, they're very small limits.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much to spend more than $20 or $30, and now it looks like you're eating 5 out of the 10 cookies available every month. You're a pig. You need to eat 1. Have some self-control. Get it back on the bike. No,
that's a great way to put it.
Is. And so when you think about it that way, before you pull out that credit card to go charge something, think to myself, is this worth the sacrifice of me not having any financial future? Like this item I'm about to charge that's going to be $300. It better make your life.
Yeah.
Or it's never going to be worth that money.
To tell you the truth,
to screw up your future.
It's not even worth the phone calls coming in, the harassment. It's not even worth you having to dodge phone numbers and get 10 calls from an 800 number a day. It's it's not even worth it. And
it gets really hard to pay it too.
Yeah.
As the years go by, when you're like, oh, that outfit that I flew to San Francisco to see that guy for one night, and I'm paying for it, and then it goes to charge off, and then you're at a place where you're like, I have got to get it charged off, or I can't even move forward on a house. And you're thinking, it's 8 years ago. I don't even have the outfit, and it's hard to spend that money. The longer you haven't paid it off, it's going to get harder. So don't put yourself in that position.
Absolutely.
It's not worth it.
And the next time that they're calling, I actually had a great experience calling up a collector, and just it felt so good to get rid of it.
Are you going to send Christmas cards? I mean, do you want to join where you was best man in the wedding?
Absolutely.
You got a new friend. I won't make fun of you.
Guys, answer the phone. You know what I mean? Talk to them. Work out a deal. Because when if you don't answer the collector's call, you're going to go to a store and you're going to buy shoes that you don't need. You're going to go out to dinner that night and you're going to plan on spending $60 at dinner, but you end up dropping $120 because you were drinking. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's and then before you know it, you could have just answered that call and had that taken off of your credit. And this is the way that the older me is thinking.
It is a moment of growing up and weighing it out. Do I want the 120 drunk night that I'll pay for forever? Or do I want to actually own a home one day and have a future and be able to retire? It's about 30s to 40s, when you get in there and start thinking about it really. But I do think that the talking, the just getting on the phone, one big thing I want to point out, debt buying is one of the biggest industries in the country. Debt buying also happens to be something to where they buy, collectors come in and buy debts that are expired.
Sure.
So a lot of times you'll get phone calls or something in the mail that says, the first letter they send you says, we will settle. We'll settle for $900 on the $3,000 credit card you had with Structure in 1989. And you're like, gosh, they found me. Okay. So then you're immediately like, I'll pay the $900. What you didn't realize is every state has a time frame for how long they have to come after you. You don't know that. So they just bought the expired debt and called you up and said, how does $900 sound? And you went, sounds like a deal. And they just got free money. That's how they earn money. Is they bought the debt for a penny because it's expired.
Right.
They just got to get you to believe it's still valid and they could come after you.
Man.
And so you got to be smarter than that. Anytime you get a call or an email or a phone call, anything for a collection, very first thing, request validation of the debt. Number 1, from them. Number 2, they have 30 days to get that to you so that you can validate that they really do have this debt on you and who the original creditor was. But other than that, you need to also go check on go check the actual 3 credit reports at annualcreditreport.com because those are free weekly until April 2021. And you'll look right on there. And if you don't see that collection company on the credit report, you might not want to be calling to try to get them to pay and delete
Yeah.
because there's nothing to delete. They're not on your credit.
I feel like I would be.
Pay a collection.
I feel like I would be so good at calling people and tricking them into paying that.
You would. I mean, that's the thing. But I do think that a lot of it is intimidation and fear, just in general, of what you don't know. What
Fear is the
you'll be able
biggest
to
sale
do.
ever.
Yeah. So you just have to be very, very clear and ask questions. And remember that no matter what, once it's become a collection, it's bought by a debt buyer, it's 100% negotiable. There's not even a lowest amount. I had a guy a couple weeks ago that had $154,000 charge off that he was trying to negotiate with the bank. And I told him, offer like 30%. He had cash that he could just settle it. And so he went and he called him and he's sitting in front of me in my office and he said, I'll offer you guys $5,400 to call it a deal. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, $5,400, dude. I said 30% of 154,000, and I'm sitting there like, and he looks across me and the guy comes back on the phone and goes, we'll take 9,200. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, once he got home, he sends me a couple forms. He's like, I'm going to send over the 9,200. And I'm like, hey, did you look at the date on that, on the original creditor? And he looks down. I'm like, it's expired. It's expired. Call them back and tell them to eat whatever. Because you ain't getting my money. So no 9,200, no nothing, expired.
And they have
debt.
to take it off of his credit, right?
Yeah, it's over.
Delete.
7 years. You can't extend the time frame for the credit report. They can extend the statute of limitations if they could get $1 out of them, just like a payment. Give me $1. We'll get out of your hair for tonight. It's Christmas. We'll go out. That just extended the time frame for how long they have to sue you. So sometimes they buy a expired debt to try to get you to acknowledge it and get you to make like something so that you can reopen it. But if you can call it out and go, this debt's time barred, it's expired, then they can go away. And then you send a little letter saying cease and desist and they go away.
So interesting. I had another one that I found after I sent you my credit report, right? So several years ago, I went into Ashley's Furniture. I bought a whole living room set and all this stuff. I paid off. I was making the payments on time until about half of it. And then somewhere off the rails, I couldn't keep up with the payments. And then I just stopped paying it. And I'm pretty sure I owe like $1,800 left on it. And you know what's funny is that it wasn't on my credit report. And I was looking for it and I was looking for it. And I'm like, why doesn't it show up here anymore? And I go, it hasn't really been that long. I think it was only like 4 years ago. And so... And then they are sending me letters in the mail though, and in the letters,
so what happened? Yeah, they might have sold it.
Well, they definitely it's definitely sold to a creditor, but in the letters they send me, it doesn't have my first name, it only has my last name twice. So I'm like,
that's just an error. Like I know people try to get out of stuff with the name's wrong, the address is wrong.
Not gonna happen because the social's right.
Yeah, you're in Arizona, right? Are you in California?
I'm in California.
I want to say the statute of limitation for credit cards or those kind of, Ashley, are 6 years. So look at when your first 30-day late happened. As long as no payment was received by them for 6 years, they still have 1 year that they left, 7 years total that they could be on your credit. So a lot of collection companies are buying debt right now that's time barred, but they are allowed to show up on your credit years 6 through 7.
Yeah.
So they can't sue you, but they show up on your credit. And the minute they show up, even if it's an old collection, if it says last date updated or last date reported and it's last month, that looks like you're getting a brand new collection every month, a brand new bad account. And until you delete it or pay it or settle it, every month it's going to keep you in this like quicksand bucket where your score is just not going to recover until you get out of that.
Well, you know what's funny is that it wasn't until I paid off that last one that I just told you about, the 400 and something. As soon as I paid that off, all of a sudden it appeared on my credit report, which is extremely weird. It's like
when you paid it off?
I didn't pay the Ashley's off. I paid off the one that you told me to, that for settle them for $250.
But then Ashley popped up.
Yeah, after I paid it.
I have seen a lot of that. That's the one you paid though.
No. I paid a credit card.
Another creditor, Ashley became new.
They all of a sudden popped up.
Yeah, Ashley might have realized like that you're in a bucket where they can't sue you or come after you. They might not even have the official paperwork to be able to sue you. So all they can do is that 7-year legal time frame of screwing you on your credit. So they can pop up in year 6. If they are like, that's the only chance we have at this point for him to call us and pay up, that's what they're going to do.
Well, it's only been about 4 years.
People either. Yeah, B of A doesn't have the ability to really like sue people. They can't sell the debt because they took on so much of that countrywide debt and stuff. So they have like a third party inside B of A, and even insiders have told me like, it's just one of those things where we keep updating on their credit every month, and we just hope they show up in the branch and say, I want to settle the debt, because we can't really go after them. We don't have the proper paperwork to sue them. But,
you know what's funny? A few years ago, when I was trying to build my credit and obviously failed, I opened a prepaid credit card with Bank of America, with only a $300 limit. So you had to put $300. You had to give them $300.
Was then it prepaid or secured?
Prepaid.
Okay. Those don't report to credit. Make sure that you always acknowledge prepaid cards don't report to credit. Secured
so maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
You put the money up. You got a card with like a Visa symbol.
Yeah.
Did you have to keep loading it every month?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a prepaid card. It doesn't report.
Really?
To the credit bureaus. Yeah.
Okay.
Only
see,
secured cards where
they
you
keep
put up
coming after me. They keep sending me letters and coming after me for that money, and I just go like, first of all, it was my money. Like, I put it up front. It's like, I don't owe you anything.
Yeah.
I put it up front.
Charging you a fee, a closing fee, or whatever crap fee. But we didn't see that on your credit, right?
No.
No, it's just something on the side.
Yeah, they just send me letters.
There's a lot of stuff that people think are really haunting them on their credit, and it's not even on there. You really have to like take the time to go over while you can. It used to be only since 2003 have we even got to see our credit reports in this country, like see what they're actually reporting on us. And they're once a year for free. And then COVID happened, and they said, you're going to get them free weekly by going to annualcreditreport.com, but only through April 2021. So this is the year. Like, this is the year for you to print the 3 reports out, all 400 pages, and dive into what these people are saying about you, because it's going to be your financial life. Excuse my language, but it's messing up your financial life. And so there's these 3 people that they got a lot to say about you. Don't you want to know what they say? And if it's true or not, or, that's that. And sometimes we don't. We want to put our head back under the pillow.
It's so much easier. It's so much easier.
Once you kind of grab it and you start tackling it and you realize it's not as bad as the story you've been making it for years, and you get just a tiny momentum of doing something in the right direction, it's amazing how much it pushes you in that
actually
direction.
that little momentum, you actually feel like, oh, this is doable, and then you'll keep going. It's the
hope.
Exactly. It's when you think that it's not doable that you won't even try, and then when you get a little bit of motivation and you get that momentum going, you're just like, wow, I actually can get out from under this. And
that's the main thing I think I teach, is that I was so scared that I wanted to be I came out, with my book, with Color My Credit, the whole concept, the idea was anti-credit repair. So when everybody was coming at me saying, oh, you're doing credit repair now? You've been a mortgage lender? You're doing credit repair? Like, no. I'm doing the disruption to the credit repair industry. It's called credit empowerment. Okay. And that's what I do. I do the education. Let me show you how easy this is. Now go do it. Like, once you do it for yourself, it can't be taken away from you anymore. And there's a passion inside me for justice. There's a passion in me for having, an impact on people. But that's what I teach every day, is like, when I'm trying to teach the credit stuff, it's not somebody calling me up saying, can I just pay you to do it? It's like, nah, you got to be present. You got to do it. And you're going to be surprised on how easy it is and how much more fulfilling it feels to do it yourself and to know it got done, not just like hoping some repair company or debt consolidation is doing something for you. Like, no more. You got to do it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you never know when you're going to be in a different situation or the situation again, and now you're going to know what to do.
Totally.
Teach a man to
never
fish,
have to
right?
worry about it again. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. And that, again, goes in absolutely everything.
You think about this, okay? You get people that are suicidal, genuinely fight depression and anxiety. Okay. And if you want to dive into logotherapy and things like that, that's a whole nother show. But the point is people go through this depression. They really have a lot of despair going on where they feel like they can't see out. Their life is so crappy. When you learn something like this, that not only empowers you, that once you put it into action and you see the results, you learn it yourself in a way of able to teach it to someone else. Then when you go outside yourself and you start calling up your aunt, friend, sister, brother, somebody that doesn't want to admit it, but their credit's screwed up and they wish, it would be a game changer for them if they could figure it out. And you, Mr. Suicidal to Anxiety, show up at someone's door and say, let me help you out. Let me show you what I learned. The best cure for despair is service. Okay. The best cure when you are in a place of my world is falling apart. If you can step outside and lend a hand to someone else and help them with something, and you have a tool, like I'm giving you a tool that if you learn it and put it on yourself and learn it enough to where you could turn around and give it back, you won't suffer from depression because it'll have a different impact on you. I mean that genuinely because I came from such a depression place. When I started seeing the light in people's eyes, like, oh my God, maybe I got hope. Maybe I'm going to buy a house. Like I was like, I had a hard time, focusing on all the things that are bad about my life because of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That impact is so freaking amazing. It makes you feel like, we're
Are you saying that if you're depressed and you help someone, it helps you? Or did I mix that up?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Talk about pulling yourself. There's a guy named Viktor Frankl. Okay. He wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And he's a psychiatrist that studies logotherapy. And the whole idea of logotherapy is just learning that everything that happened in your life was there for a reason. You don't suffer from it so much when you know that the low points in life were there was a point of it to get you over, to over here. And when you look at Viktor Frankl, he was a doctor at a hospital with about 300 suicidal patients that none of them committed suicide over his time of care because he showed them the art of caring for others, of giving, of service every day, of thinking, what can I do to make someone else's life a little easier? What can I do to make their path a little easier? And so what I'm saying is by taking this information on that is life-changing for yourself, can you even imagine how it feels for other people that have no idea? I mean, I have literally talked to guys at bus stops because, who's talking to them about this? Not that, and I just sit down and I might say like, I don't know, but like somehow I'll start up a conversation, but I don't know. I just think it's something to where there's nowhere in the world, in the country, in the United States, you can go anywhere and not make a friend with that information. You're going to make a friend. You're going to have a great conversation. They're going to walk away better off.
Even in jail.
Even in jail. Bloom where you're planted. That's what I say. It is the truth. It is a gift to be able to pass something on to someone that they can then turn around and pass on to someone else. And it really ends up helping that person. So, what's funny, and we'll end it with just what we've started with and talked about constantly, how we bring everything back to comedy, is I remember this interview that I saw with Jerry Lewis once, how he said that, deep down he was, he had some demons inside. He was a little depressed about things, and he had some stuff from his family and his childhood, and he was certain that that's what made him who he was, especially as a performer. And he eventually said that he said to a friend of his, or I think it was a manager, and he said, I want to go talk to a doctor and analyze my life and why I have this pain and this darkness. And his manager told him, don't. And he goes, whatever it is, it's working. And you're very funny. So just leave it alone. He's like, whatever demons you have, leave them there. Yeah. You know what, though? I think that I know for fact that there are a lot of comedians that truly do believe that. It's almost like a good luck charm. Like, no, don't touch me because I will lose the game if you touch me.
Yep.
But like that you have to hang on to all that pain. There's a lot of good that can come from just deeper insight into understanding that paying. Comedies, having a psychology background's really good even for a stand-up, you know, because I don't know. I just think they're some of the most messed up people in the world.
That's all right. Yeah, you could say that.
That's where, you know what? Always go to the ones who bled to learn it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And comedians found comedy, laughing, to be their, to be their outlet, to be their thing that they could give to the world that would make their day lighter.
And those are the funniest ones, man.
With that. Yeah.
The funniest ones are the ones that, had to taste dirt. And you have to taste dirt in order to analyze it, and or the ones that most comedians, especially the funny ones, they have bad credit. To be honest with you,
horrible,
because they're probably they don't come. Those are the funniest ones. Are the ones that struggle financially or struggle with their family or their background or where they came from. And
haven't seen a dentist in years. I mean, all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, all that stuff. And there's probably some exceptions to the rule, but I would say for the most part, if you come from money or if you're out here pursuing your dream, but your parents were kind of helping you with your rent and stuff like that, for the most part, they're not that funny. If you came,
you really got to earn your stripes.
The silver spoon kids don't normally turn out to be the funniest comics.
No, that's it. Tragedy plus time.
Yeah.
That's your formula for comedy,
So I want to be really funny, so I'm going to keep my credit really low, and and now I need to come see you. I got to stay
in this place. I got to stay true to being a comedian. Mark Price, Skippy from Family Ties.
Oh yeah,
he's a comedian too. But he had me on his show, and he was recently. But he was saying we should grab 5 comics. We got a plethora to pick from.
Yeah.
Let's just pick 5 comedians that we can work on their credit over the next. I'm like, let's do it, But I'm just thinking, I'll be like, when do you work next? When's the next gig? You don't have a next gig? Okay,
Yeah.
Kind of screwed them up with COVID. They're like, any virtual Zoom corporate parties you're doing?
Right.
No.
There's
unless you're Bert Kreischer and you're on the van drive-in movie.
Well, it's great if you're a comic who's in a position to do something like that. And if I was, I would do it too, to be honest with you.
All day. Brilliant.
And you're in Arizona. You guys got comedy clubs open. Most states are kind of, there's something. California, I won't even go into it now. But I mean, I have been, for the past 3 weeks at war with Los Angeles County, which I don't really see any other comics doing, is just stepping up, going to the county. I'm not doing a protest outside the door and causing a riot. I'm doing things the way that you're supposed to do things at the source, and I'm going emails, talking to these people the way, and I don't come with problems. I come with the solution of how can we do outdoor comedy. And here, I wrote up a plan that is within their guidelines to do outdoor comedy, and I'm pitching it to them. I'm not even saying open comedy clubs. I'm saying you've already allowed comedy clubs.
Here's an alternative. Yeah.
Well, right now we're allowed, the Comedy Store, for example, is allowed to be open outside only the patio and the parking lot for dinner and drinks, but you can't have one person standing up in front of them outside performing stand-up comedy. It's not allowed in our county. So I am trying.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not even pushing. You can't go to them and be like, please open comedy clubs. They're going to be like, dude, did you see the COVID numbers in LA? Get out of here.
They're like, who cares about comedy?
Yeah, you got to come up with them with a plan, and I have a plan to make outdoor comedy work, and I've just for 3 weeks been climbing up the ladder of getting to the right people, and coming down to, I'm so disappointed today. The day I've had has been crazy. This morning, having the board meeting of all the supervisors of LA County, and I was supposed to have my plan and my opening statement read today at the meeting, and they did not even read it. They didn't even get to it. And then I went and looked at the documents, and it wasn't submitted in there, even though I know I did with the right people. And it's just you almost want to cry with the frustration. It's just, that's what I'm going through here in LA. And so many comedians are moving to other states.
That's what I saw. Did you see the moving price quotes from U-Haul?
Yeah, I know.
$1,900 to move from California to Arizona.
California to anywhere.
$100,
Almost every comic I know, and I don't blame them because there's work in other states. They have to make a living. But you know what? I'm originally from Los Angeles, and my family's here. And if I get hired to go do a gig in another state, I'll go. But for now, I'm staying here, and I want to be a part of the comedy community surviving here. And that's what I'm dealing with.
Also being okay with the fact that the ones that survive in any industry are going to be the ones that evolve and the ones that are willing to change and be innovative with how those changes are going to happen. And I think that spending the time building your social media, building your digital, building all those things to make you better on the road instead of sitting and getting high all day and going, oh, wow, when is the club's going to open? Like, this is your time to be doing new headshots, new marketing, new writing, new bits.
New podcast writing,
Right.
A new online segment, a new little, like, Patreon or, something fun.
Doing TikToks. You can do private videos and make them yourself. But find a way to evolve your comedy and your ability to do what you do best in this new world.
Yeah, this is the time to do it. You sat there, if you sat there and collected those unemployment checks throughout the entire thing, and then when it's all over, you have nothing to show for it, and probably you went through all the unemployment money, it's going to be such a tragedy. And you have almost every comic I know has tons of footage on cameras and hard drives that they've never released. This is the time to go and edit them and work your YouTube and work your Instagram and work your TikTok, and that's the time to do it. I was sitting on an hour worth of material that I had recorded audio, and during the beginning of quarantine, I released a comedy album with it. I finally went through it and edited it and released a comedy album all during this.
Isn't that crazy? All the little bits, where you're like, I got a book here. Like, I got a book. Yeah. And it's not that hard to make a little Amazon book.
It wasn't that hard to edit out, just a couple of things I wasn't happy with, and then overall I still ended up with like a 55-minute comedy album, which, by the way, it's out. Everyone download it, please. Everywhere.
Utilizing the time for sure. Like, sometimes we get thrown off route, off track, but there's something we're supposed to do there at that stop, like, the Tin Man stopped us, but what are we supposed to learn from the Tin Man? There's something that's crucial before you can get on to the next path. So whatever it is, you got to find it. You got to be diligent on looking for it and not just victim, put your hands in the air and say, I can't do anything though. No one's going to do anything for you there. Go do masterclass. Go watch masterclass. Yeah.
Everybody's got a right to complain. Only if you're also willing to come up with a solution and be willing to do something about it. Don't just complain, when's comedy club's going to open? Like, I'm doing something about it. It doesn't seem to be working, but
hey, you know what?
It's something.
Sometimes it takes years. You ask Jerry Seinfeld, flash in the pan, Jerry Seinfeld, who finally, gets a show after a year of doing comedy. No.
Got to keep it something.
Jerry Seinfeld was doing comedy for 20 years before anybody looked at him and said, here's something.
So most of my friends,
all have to be working like a duck. All smooth on the outside, but underneath, like, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. Alisa, thank you so much for your time today. And I appreciate your help with my credit, and I'm taking all of your advice. And also today I did that... I forget what it's called, but you sent me the link. Self-lender, yeah. So I did that today. I paid off one of the other debts, and there's only one more to go.
Idea,
yeah. So I appreciate all of your help, and I'm going to be definitely in touch with you once I do everything that you told me to do, and then we'll hit it again. And everybody,
check out colormycredit.com because I do 30-minute consultations for $100 where I just look over someone's credit reports. We get on the phone for 30 minutes. It's like you rent a sister, and we talk about what you need to do to raise your score. So that's available. I have an online course, so you can get a lot of free content though from TikTok and Color My Credit.
And guys, I'm in California. She's in Arizona, and we did it. We're doing it now. So just do the 30-minute consultation. I know it's on the back of your mind, and you're thinking, you don't even know how do you get a good person who's not overcharging you to give you the advice on how to fix your credit,
or it's going to give you good advice.
So I'm telling you guys to go to colormycredit.com and just schedule the 30-minute. That's it. It's $99, right? Schedule the 30 minutes.
Oh no, it's $100 for 30 minutes. My book's on Amazon, and it's $10.
Cool.
If you can even see it in my green screen.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It was great. I hope.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Next time I go to Arizona, do that club, you come out and you visit me, and I'll be in touch with you anyway.
For sure.
And I will be putting the
Thanks,
link
bud.
in the description of this to for colormycredit.com, as well as Masterclass and my website, so you can download my comedy album. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks, bud.
No problem. Bye. You're still here.
Yeah. I figured you were. I didn't even know. I'm like, either he'll just go or he'll say bye.
Well, I gotta say bye to the people one more time. So you go ahead and you log off.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Oh, I don't know how to. Oh, yeah. Wait.
There you go. That was Alisa Glutz, you guys. I mean, she helped me. All I did was send her my credit report, and she gave me like my first 3 homework to go do, which is basically pay off 2 things, which she told me an amount that I can probably get them down to, and they did. And the other thing was to do like one of those self-lenders, which she'll tell you about it, which is basically like where you're putting money away in an account, but it goes towards your credit. So you actually not spending the money, you're getting it back, and it goes towards your credit. It's a great idea. And that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to Homeschooled Podcast. And I appreciate it. I hope you learned something from this. Listen, normally we talk comedy. Normally we talk about a lot of stuff. But, it's time to get your life in order. This is a good time. Stop looking at this as a negative. There are negatives, but there's also a lot of positives. Take this time and start working on your life. It's easier than you think. And everything that you want could just be right around the corner. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. I hope you got something from this. I love you guys. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget about Masterclass. Click the link in the description. Don't forget about my comedy album, Please Live It 5 Stars. The links are on my website, homeschoolpod.com. And if you need help with your credit, she's great. Go to colormycredit.com. All right, you guys. I'll see you next time here on Homeschooled Podcast. All right, bye. Homeschooled Podcast.
Homeschool.
The Homeschool Podcast. Why? Because he was homeschooled.
I don't want to do that.
Okay.
I don't want to do that at all.